This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich,
And I'm Kelley Gilster of 618 Studios.
and we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here.
Hey friends, and welcome to another short and sweet episode of the Level Up Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Taylor Petrinovich, joined by my friend, Kelley Gilster.
Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and we're excited to chat with you about this special Q&A episode that we have. This is one of the things that we love to do, right, Taylor?
I really do love asking our audience, our community, like what burning questions they have because they make for such great conversation points. So in order to address each of these questions fully, instead of in like a rapid fire way, we're going to go ahead and split this episode into two parts so that each question really gets the time and attention it deserves. So this is part one. And next week we will be releasing part two. And this is just a little interruption of our all-star guest series, which will resume again after the Q&A episodes have completed. But this all-star series has been so fun. We've brought on so many talented filmmakers, photographers, planners, and we have a lot more in store for you guys. So don't mind the interruption because we wanted to make sure we get to these questions. But I'm just going to dive right in, Kelley. All right. So our very first question comes from Joy Films, and she asked, how much time do you guys spend a week on your personal businesses, editing, and on Level Up?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so glad that Trelawney asked this question because she's actually one of our spring mastermind students. And so it's so great to have her be guiding her this spring, get to know more of her business. If you guys aren't following her, you can follow her over on Joy Films. But oh gosh, this is like kind of a loaded question, Taylor. I feel like it depends on the season or maybe even the week. Like, I feel like instead of how you devote it per week, I would look at it maybe more as like, you're going to love this, Taylor, a pie chart of like in general life, like what it all looks like for you. And maybe it looks different because we have different things going on the back side of things. Like we all shoot like different weddings each year. Paul and I have commercial work too. What does your pie chart look like? And then I'll follow up with what my pie chart looks like.
Mine looks so different this year than it really ever has, and that is by design. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you've been hanging out with us as a brand, like as Level Up for a while, you'll notice that we've been a little busier than normal. You know, we have been running these mastermind programs, free workshops, a lot more active on Instagram, our email list, like kind of all the places. And it takes a lot of man or woman hours really to make that all happen. We don't have somebody really behind the scenes like creating those things for us. It's all Kelley and myself. And so because of that and because of how much more reach we're getting through Level Up and we're impacting so many businesses in such great ways, and we really want to be able to expand our reach and our impact and what we're doing inside the wedding industry. I made the choice to kind of scale back my weddings this year so I can devote more time to Level Up because I've said this multiple times, but I love this. Like, I really like filming weddings, but I love Level Up and I love helping other people reach their goals and their dreams. And so I'm only at this time I have 6 weddings booked for this year, which is 3 fewer, which is 30% than last year. And probably next year it'll be pretty similar. So with that said, most of my working time is really spent on Level Up. I mean, I probably do clock in close to 40 hours a week on this, if we're being totally honest. I wake up, in the morning with my coffee at 4:30 and I sit on the couch and I work away, and I have my walking pad now so I can walk an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours while I'm working, typing away on the laptop. So it's kind of taken over my life, but I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. So you'd say, so if 40 hours are devoted to Level Up, what is kind of left on the back end for weddings?
Yeah. So right now, As we're recording this, it is the end of March. So it's like we're coming off of the off season here. So I would say probably, an hour max, probably devoted to responding to inquiries and emails. It's really as a as needed basis. I've been pretty quiet on social media, and that's because I made that decision because I wasn't wanting to have a flooded inbox of inquiries and having to turn them down because I scaled back this year. So that was a conscious decision that I made to be a little less active on social media at this time. But as weddings pick up and I'm creating new content, and I will be sharing a little bit more. But once wedding season is here, of course, that pie chart will shift a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll batch some level up stuff so that I can devote more time to weddings come, late May and into June. So yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't like to work more than 50 hours a week. That would be great.
I feel like it's inevitable though. We just can't help ourselves. Like I probably work 55 to 60 hours a week. So what my chart kind of looks like is yes, Level Up has taken up a lot to more of time than I previously had. So as you guys are listening to this, so Paul and I will say though, we have scaled back on the amount of weddings now also. So we've decided that from moving forward, we are going to cap at 12 weddings a year. So between 10 and 12 would be our sweet spot. And we're pretty much there for this year. But whereas I feel like we were kind of hovering more in like the 17 range, like under 20 for sure. But for many years when we just had weddings, we were doing like 23 a year was kind of our sweet spot. So we have been scaling back year after year to make room for more things. And one of the things that we've also had to make room for more is an influx in commercial and corporate clients. Paul has done just a really great job building out that side of the business. So my pie chart kind of looks in thirds, with weddings probably taking up 30% of my pie chart, and then commercial maybe slightly less, like 25%. And then Taylor, you're the numbers person, so come at me on what that final number is for Level Up. It's definitely
55%, a little over
yes, I
half.
mean it's definitely in the like where Taylor maybe might be looking like 85-15 for weddings, like 85% Level Up and all
Yeah,
that.
I think that's pretty
Um
accurate.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what it looks like for us. It's a whole thing, you guys, but we absolutely love it. And if you're listening here and you enjoy this podcast episode, just know that there's heart behind it. It's something that doesn't always feel like work to us, but it does take up a lot of our, week to week. So it's
It
fun.
does. I left the door open while we're recording. Cassie, you can keep this in. But my cat, you guys, I have to show you my cat. So if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm so
Oh
sorry.
my
But
gosh.
he's like the biggest. Oh, he's trying to run away. I have like a Himalayan cat, and he is no joke, like 22 pounds, which he might be slightly overweight. But this is my cat.
Oh my gosh. That is the size of like my corgi.
He is the size of a small dog. His name is Larry.
How old is he?
He's like 10. Yeah,
Okay.
he's 10. So he's getting there, but he's funny. He just wandered in because I left the door cracked open and he pushed it open. And anyway, this is a this is a raw and real episode, guys. How fun! He's like pawing at my chair, wanting the pets.
Oh my gosh. I just see like a little bushy tail like walking along the bottom of the frame. So if you're not watching on YouTube, this would be one to definitely catch at this point in the episode.
Fun fact: I'm a cat person.
Oh
Dogs are
my
fine, but I
gosh.
really like cats.
I love it. All right.
um,
So I feel like we tackled that one in a very long roundabout way.
yes, we love to talk. That's why we have a podcast. Okay, here's the next question. This is from Boss Media Productions, and they said, this is actually a great one that this might take a little while to answer. Is there such thing as upselling, so albums, more pages, longer video edits, or prints to luxury clients after their wedding? Or is this a budget market mentality? If there is, what does that look like, and can you give examples? So, I mean, right off the bat, like, yes, absolutely. Like, upselling can totally happen in the luxury space. And it does happen, especially when it comes to those like ancillary events, like the rehearsal dinner, welcome party, farewell brunch, like whatever that may be. Yeah, do you want to talk about that a little bit, Kelley?
Yeah, I think that the differentiation between it feeling like a budget mentality versus a luxury mentality is truly the experience. So from the very get-go, what is the client experiencing and how the upsell process is going to work? And that's something that we like teach heavily within our mastermind program and within our course is that there's a certain like method to go about it to where you aren't doing it in this like kind of scale like salesy skeezy way, but it's done with like true intention and with the client's best interest in mind. We actually have a really great resource if you haven't already gone to our shop, and we have our elevated client experience bundle. It includes there's so much value within this bundle. It's one of our most purchased items in our shop by far, would you say, Taylor?
It is, yes. It is the number one item in our shop as far as like how many people have bought it. Um, yeah, part of the upsell or part of the client experience is upselling because it is, in fact, a service to our clients. People, they want these things, right? It's not like we're trying to like sell them something that they're not interested in. Like these are their memories, and this is, the beginning of their legacy together, and they want that in general. So it walks through and has email templates on how to upsell after they've already, contracted with you. Rehearsal dinner, welcome party coverage, raw footage, things like that. And you can easily, take the concepts and the way we've worded things in a client first and experience first mentality and kind of upsell really anything you're wanting to, whether that be parent albums or prints or a longer film. Specifically the longer film one, like that's much easier to do after the wedding day too, because you've already like seen what the day holds and captured it, and you can have a really good feel of like, okay, we're not going to be able to jam all of this into a 6-minute film. Like it really needs to be longer in order to do the weekend justice. And so coming at it from that way of like, this is going to best serve you, and if you add this on.
Yeah. It also one of the things that I have as a additional offering is raw footage. So Paul and I have always sold raw footage for 14 years. And that can be like kind of scary for some people. We have no problem doing it. And I think that part of the reason why we have no fear behind it is because we have curated a really great agreement, but it's more of a disclaimer. Like I call it like a disclaimer slash agreement because it really outlines specifically what the raw footage is and how it's delivered so that clients have a super, super clear expectation on what they will be receiving and essentially like what they are putting their money towards. And so we've, knock on wood, never had any sort of issues with a client receiving our raw footage and wondering, what's going on here. And that disclaimer and agreement is something that we've also tied into this client experience bundle. So it truly is such a great resource. I would recommend adding to cart and implementing the things that you see fit within your business for this 2024 season, and just really starting to be able to make a little bit more money and serving our clients better. It's not just all about making more money, but it's about educating our clients in a way that still feels elevated, not in a luxury or not in a budget mindset way. And so, yeah, it can
Yeah,
definitely be done.
absolutely. And if you want to get your hands on that, you can go to thelevelupco.com/shop, and it's right in that page. I think it's at the very top. Okay, this is gonna be our last question for this episode, and then hang out next week for part two because the questions we're saving for part two are very juicy with the answers, and we just don't have time for that today. So this is the last one, and this is also pretty juicy, but this person said, obviously, we know not to cold email or DM planners. How would you recommend starting to build a relationship with them? And my initial answer is going to be kind of focused on that word best. What is the best way? And the best way is always going to be starting in an in person format if possible. And honestly, like the best way is if you could form that working relationship first at an event before like solidifying that relationship through like social media or whatever. So we all have opportunities where we'll book a wedding with a planner, and we've maybe even never heard of that planner before, didn't know they existed or whatever. But now this is an amazing opportunity for you to create a really amazing, lasting first impression of your brand and your processes and what you offer your clients. And I think that's truly the best way.
I agree. Yeah, it's almost like a built-in those built-in opportunities are really missed opportunities in a lot of ways because it's kind of like when something is just like laid out in front of you and that those are one of those things where like you can start to not when we first started, we were never working with planners. We were working with either no planner or the venue provided a planner or the sister had a friend who came in to kind of like set up the guest book table and like good times. And then it kind of turned into they did have some money that they could allocate a few $100s towards a day of coordinator, right? And then we have a month of coordinator. Then we move into partial planner and a full service planner, and it just goes and goes and goes from there. But it's something where just putting your best foot forward with any opportunity that comes your way is truly the best way to be able to paint your brand in a really great light so that you're creating a memorable experience and an easy button push for future events where that planner, maybe they were brought in, like let's just look at this. Like, what if that friend who had their sister come in and help with the wedding. What if she didn't have a business just yet, but you created just like an all-star experience in her mind and now 2 years later she started her business and now 5 years after that she's doing full service planning and design and she remembers you and you've remained consistent too to where she's like I remember working with you like way back in the day and now here we are at this event, years and years later for a completely different type of clientele.
Yeah. Yeah. Never write somebody off, prematurely. I think that's a huge mistake people make. And I will say, too, this is another one where I know you're probably asking for like the actual strategy, like, oh, I pinpointed that planner over there and how do I build a relationship? But you asked for the best way. So that's what we're talking about. Because that way can be a little bit more challenging and not as straightforward. But I will say, too, like, probably the second best way is to make sure your name is being mentioned in rooms in a really positive way. So like maybe you don't make a relationship with a wedding planner, you make a great relationship with the photographer as the filmmaker, or vice versa, or the catering manager, like really whatever, like on a wedding day. And you guys, the industry is so small and people talk a lot, and they have their own group threads and they're going out to lunch and names are tossed around like, oh, have you seen what so and so is doing recently, or this person's been killing it, or blah 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 blah. And like if you can have somebody else vouch for you, like that word of mouth and that like somebody else vouching for you is going to do a lot for the planner. So maybe that planner has never come across you before, but they have somebody else who has worked with you and they're saying all these good things about you, right? So just another reason to be like such a team player, such a positive energy on a wedding day, because you want your name mentioned in these ways, because that will open up doors where a DM could never open that door.
Yeah. I think it was last year we had Sam Eng, who's a filmmaker. He's actually in my local market too. And he had such a great quote, and I'm going to butcher it, where he said, um, I don't always need the referral, but if my name is just brought up in the conversation, that's where I want to be too. And I thought that was so powerful. Something that I think, we just go for like that quick win or, oh, it needs to be a referral or I'm only looking to build a relationship because I need those referrals. Like What if it wasn't yielding in referrals, but what if it was yielding in like your name being in the room and in that conversation in a positive way? Even if like maybe that planner, you guys don't share an ideal client or whatever it could be, just the fact that they can point you maybe to a fellow colleague who you would be a really good fit for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's not such a black and white thing. You don't have to have like complete tunnel vision. It's a little bit more nuanced and organic than a lot of people like to think of it, but I think that makes it all the more exciting. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this first part of this Q&A kind of interruption of our All-Star Guest Series. We're going to check back next week with the really juicy questions for the second part. So we'll see you then. Same time, same place. Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.